Okay, in this problem we're asked to solve this system by substitution. The first thing you might notice as we're working through this problem is that these equations look quite a lot different than some of the ones you may have run into in other homework problems. So what we want to first do is notice we can do a little bit of cleaning up here to perhaps make things look a little bit nicer. So before I even get into actually solving the system, if I look at this first equation, x plus 2y plus 4 equals negative 5 plus 5y minus x, I want to just try and clean it up a little bit. In other words, I want to get the x's and y's maybe on one side and then maybe kind of proceed from there. And likewise with the other equation, x plus 2x equals y plus 4, there's a little bit of simplifying, maybe a little rearranging I might can do with that equation. So I'd like you to pause and work on that first equation, try to get x and y on one side and perhaps get the number on the other side, and then you can kind of pick up with me in a moment. Okay, so what I've done here with that first equation is that there's way too many x's and way too many y's, and they're on two different sides. So I went ahead and I moved the y's over, so I subtracted off of 5y from both sides, so the y is on one side. Added the x over so that the x is just on the left hand side. While I was at it, I went ahead and moved the 4 over to the other side. Now in the second equation, there's not nearly as much simplifying we can do, but I have 3x, or x plus 2x will be 3x equals y plus 4. Okay. Now I'm ready to start actually solving the system. So to solve a system, we want to well, in this problem we want to solve by substitution. So our goal is to solve one of the equations for one of the variables. So here we can pick either equation and either variable, but as I look here at the second equation there, I say, you know what, that one's actually pretty easy to solve for y. Right, all I'd have to do is subtract the 4 from both sides, and now I'd have y by itself. So I would begin my substitution method by solving that equation for y, and I would get 3x minus 4 is equal to y. So we've solved one of the equations for one of the variables, and that's the first step in the substitution method. The second step is to take that answer and plug it into the other equation for the variable, which in this case is y. So we're going to replace the y in that equation with 3x minus 4. Okay, so that'll give us the equation 2x, and then it's 3y, so it'll be 3 times 3x minus 4 equals negative 9. At this point now we have an equation that has only one variable in it. So we'd like to proceed to solve that equation. So there's a little bit of simplifying that we can do. Here we can distribute the 3 through. Get 2x minus 9x. And a negative 3 times negative 4, be careful here, that'll be plus 12. Equals negative 9. We have some like terms here we can combine. 2x and 9x will be negative 7x. Plus 12 equals negative 9. And now our equation is getting a lot easier to solve. So at this point we can subtract the 12 from both sides. We get negative 7x equals negative 21. And we can say at this point, well, if we divide both sides by negative 7, we'll get our answer for x. X is equal to 3. At this point, we take our answer for x. We now know what x has to be, and we can plug that back in to find y. Now we can go into any of those equations in relating x and y, but in the substitution method it's far easier if we go into the equation that we've already solved for y. We know that y is equal to 3x minus 4. So we can go into that equation, replace x with 3, and then solve for y. And so we do just that. y is equal to 3x minus 4. We know x is 3. When we plug 3 in for x, that would be 9. 3 times 3 would be 9. 9 minus 4. And so finally we get y is equal to 5. So we now know what x is. We now know what y is. And so remember, we want to write our answer as a point. So our solution would be the point 3 for x and 5 for y. So this is an example of solving by substitution. It's also an example of sometimes you need to do a little bit of extra work ahead of time to rearrange your equations to get them into a format that's a little bit easier to solve. Things are really messy and ugly in those original equations up there. So we begin by simplifying them, getting them to a nicer format as we have right here. Right, and then we're able to apply our method to solve by substitution. Okay, hopefully this helps you out as you're working through some of these problems, gives you something you can kind of refer back to. Until next time.